Well, it's my great pleasure to have an opportunity to say some words about my colleague and friend, Joe Fraumeni. Joe, as many of you know, is a very highly respected and much admired member of the intramural research program. And as you've just heard, in many ways, the research done in DCEG represents the very best of high-risk, long-term investment that we make in intramural research. You've heard a lot about his role as a pioneer in cancer epidemiology, about his scientific contributions, including the work done on familiar cancer syndromes, and of course his wonderful atlas of cancer mortality. And of course the fact that he was the first director and brought to fruition the concept behind the Division of Cancer Epidemiology and Genetics at NCI. So what I'd like to do is focus a little more on his institutional role at the NIH, which may not have come up in previous comments, and why he is such an important figure for the entire intramural program. So many of you know that he came to NIH as a commissioned officer in the Public Health Service, and he took the Public Health Service part of this very seriously. He was always proud of being a Public Health Service officer, and I remember how excited he was when he was invested as a flag officer, as an admiral in the Public Health Service. I got a chance to attend that ceremony, and I have to say he was very pleased. He's also been a role model as our most senior epidemiologist at the NIH, and has guided, I think, a generation of interdisciplinary scientists who are interested in epidemiology and genetics and biostatistics. And he's really done a wonderful job in leading an organization that has recognized the importance of gender diversity, particularly in science. And I have to say that DCEG leads the NIH in having the highest percentage of senior women investigators. And Joe, I think, was a major factor in making sure that he got the most talented people he could for the positions. He has an eye for talent, and one of his legacies, of course, are all the wonderful people who he recruited as DCEG director. In general, for the almost 20 years that he was DCEG director, he was a scientific director at the NIH and was my major advisor on matters related to epidemiology. He constantly reminded me when we talked about the research done at the NIH that I should use the word population-based studies in any description of what goes on at the NIH, and he finally has succeeded in convincing me of that. And I think if you ever hear me talk about laboratory science and translational science and clinical science, I always add population-based studies. And Joe is responsible for that. The other thing he did for almost that entire period was he chaired the epidemiology and biostatistics subcommittee of the Central Tenure Committee. So there was not an epidemiologist or a biostatistician that didn't pass through his committee and undergo his sort of rigorous analysis and evaluation. And his advice to the Central Tenure Committee was enormously important in making sure that quality of our epidemiologists at the NIH, including people outside of DCEG, was extremely high. As a member of the Board of Scientific Directors, he participated in all of our discussions about science, about the high-impact, high-risk kind of science we would want to do intramurally, and reminded us constantly about the importance of epidemiology and understanding human pathophysiology. So I think his impact on epidemiology at the NIH is really unmatched. There's no one who comes close to the kind of impact he's had, not only because of his scientific contributions, but because of his management skills and his ability to relate to his colleagues at the NIH. He leaves us a legacy of wonderful scientific curiosity, rigorous study of important scientific matters, and a recruitment of outstanding talent that will serve us well for many years. Joe, thank you very much, and we look forward to many more interactions.